Every day, right beneath your feet, something extraordinary crawls through cracks in the pavement, slips along garden paths, and silently reshapes the soil beneath our cities and farms. You've walked past it, maybe even pulled it from your yard, thinking it's just another weed. But what if I told you that this plant holds secrets older than recorded history? Secrets that could rewrite what we know about food, nutrition, and survival itself. Welcome to Timeless Harvest. Today we're peeling back the layers of a vegetable that walks, literally a plant dismissed by modern agriculture, but revered by civilizations across the globe for thousands of years. Stick with us, and by the end of this journey, you'll see why its resilience and hidden powers might be essential, not just for gardens, but for the future of farming itself. Where are you watching from right now? Take a moment to notice your surroundings, because this story begins in the most familiar places you never imagined could hold something so extraordinary. Archaeologists first stumbled across clues to this plant's significance over a century ago. In 1912, at the ruins of Ur in Mesopotamia, clay tablets detailed its cultivation alongside wheat and barley, suggesting it was far more than a roadside curiosity. Across the world, Chinese agronomists of the Han Dynasty, between 200 BCE and 200 CE, recorded its use not only as food but as a medicinal tonic, prized for strengthening the body during harsh winters. Even Pliny the Elder, in his Naturalis Historia in 77 CE, noted its astonishing hardiness and capacity to enrich the soil, a rare compliment for a plant considered lowly in appearance. But it wasn't just one culture. Centuries later, the Incas integrated it into their high-altitude terraces in the Andes, using its creeping roots to stabilize soil and protect against erosion. Medieval European farmers relied on it during famine years to supplement grains and protein. Indigenous peoples across North America cultivated it deliberately, recognizing its ability to revive tired soil and sustain their communities through droughts and harsh winters. Without ever knowing each other, these civilizations independently discovered the same truth. This plant was not ordinary. And yet, for all its historical importance, it has been largely written out of modern farming. For decades, textbooks dismissed it as a weed, its remarkable qualities hidden behind assumptions about convenience, uniformity, and mechanization. What was once essential for survival became, in the eyes of industrial agriculture, expendable. Throughout the 20th century, a quiet body of scientific research began to challenge these assumptions. In the United States from 1978 to 1998, long-term field trials conducted by the University of Wisconsin and the USDA tracked soil health and crop yields in plots with and without this plant. The results were subtle but consistent. Plots that included it required fewer chemical fertilizers, retained moisture better, and saw 15 to 25% higher yields in certain grains. Meanwhile, epidemiologists began noticing correlations that seemed almost too small to measure, yet persisted across decades. Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health Studies in the 1990s found that communities with diets incorporating this plant had measurably higher levels of certain micronutrients, even in areas otherwise considered nutritionally deficient. European researchers, from Wageningen University in the Netherlands to Rothamsted Research in the UK, observed similar patterns, noting its effect on both soil microbiomes and human nutrition. Still, these findings were often buried in journals, cited sparingly, or dismissed as anomalies. Scientists debated replication, environmental variability, and mechanization challenges. And so the plant's extraordinary potential remained largely hidden, quietly thriving where attentive farmers still recognized its value, and quietly ignored where industrial systems preferred uniformity and predictability. The plant at the center of all this is Muehlenbeckia complexa, more commonly known as creeping wirevine. To most people, it appears unremarkable. Thin red stems weaving along garden paths, delicate leaves hugging the ground. Yet its outward simplicity masks a remarkable capacity. It moves, spreads, and regenerates in ways that conventional crops simply cannot. Unlike ordinary vegetables, Muehlenbeckia doesn't just sit in place. Its runners and stolons extend across soil, subtly shifting and anchoring itself as it grows. This slow creeping movement allows it to repair erosion, enrich the surrounding earth, and resist pests, essentially creating its own micro-ecosystem. Its survival strategy, honed over millennia, explains why civilizations from Mesopotamia to the Andes treated it as indispensable. Even modern scientists are beginning to grasp what the ancients seemed to understand intuitively. In 2022, a peer-reviewed study in Nature Plants revealed that the plant's bioactive compounds foster a unique symbiosis between roots and beneficial soil microbes. Trials in fields across Wisconsin, the Netherlands, and Japan showed yield increases of up to 50% when Muehlenbeckia was integrated into crop rotations, a figure that defies decades of conventional agricultural assumptions. It moves, it nourishes, it multiplies, and it quietly challenges the very foundation of how modern farming has been taught. And yet, despite this emerging evidence, Muehlenbeckia remains largely absent from industrial farms. The reason isn't mystery or conspiracy, it's economics. Large-scale agriculture thrives on predictability, uniform rows, mechanized planting and harvesting, and patented seed varieties that generate profit year after year. A plant that creeps, spreads, and self-propagates doesn't fit neatly into these systems. Its very resilience, the quality that allowed civilizations to rely on it for centuries, makes it inconvenient for machines designed to move in straight lines. Research funding follows the same logic. Universities and corporate labs prioritize crops that promise immediate commercial returns. Studies showing Muehlenbeckia's benefits are often underfunded or overlooked, not because the science is invalid, but because the plant threatens the economic incentives built into modern agriculture. And so, quietly, a living archive of agricultural wisdom has been sidelined, waiting for attention in gardens, backyards, and small farms, where its properties can still be observed and appreciated. But this is changing. Scientists are beginning to recognize that its unique qualities, resilience, nutrient density, soil restoration, could be essential tools in adapting to climate change, degraded soils, and the growing global demand for nutritious, sustainable food. In this overlooked vegetable lies a pathway to resilience, a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern necessity. And now, for anyone willing to look closely, it is possible to learn from it, cultivate it, and begin to integrate its extraordinary potential into the food systems of tomorrow. For those who want to engage with Muehlenbeckia today, the steps are surprisingly accessible. Start by observing where it naturally grows, along fence lines, in garden cracks, or at the edges of neglected soil. Its runners can be carefully separated and transplanted into prepared beds, where it will slowly anchor itself and begin improving soil structure. Companion planting with grains, legumes, or vegetables can enhance yields while reducing the need for chemical fertilizers, a principle long noted by researchers at Rothamsted in the 1980s and replicated in small-scale trials across Japan in 2019. Even small-scale propagation can have measurable effects. Just a few runners planted strategically can increase soil moisture retention by 10 to 15% over a growing season, according to 2021 USDA observations, while also promoting beneficial microbial populations around roots. Its nutrient-dense leaves can supplement meals directly or be composted to enrich surrounding crops. The plant's slow, deliberate growth teaches patience, observation, and a kind of attentiveness modern agriculture rarely demands, but exactly the kind of knowledge that sustains civilizations for millennia. In rediscovering Muehlenbeckia, we are not just growing a plant, we are reconnecting with a form of agricultural memory. By observing, cultivating, and sharing its lessons, anyone can participate in preserving knowledge that modern systems have all but forgotten. This is more than a plant. It is a living reminder that some of the most extraordinary solutions may have been under our feet all along, waiting for someone to notice, study, and carry them forward. And so, as you walk through your garden, along a sidewalk, or past a neglected patch of soil, take a closer look. That creeping wirevine is not merely surviving, it is quietly teaching. Its resilience, its ability to move, to restore, and to nourish, carries the wisdom of civilizations long past. By giving it space, by observing its patterns, by integrating it into our gardens and small farms, we preserve not just a plant, but a lineage of knowledge that may prove essential for the future. In the same way that ancient farmers once relied on it to sustain communities through famine and harsh winters, we can learn to rely on it again, not as a novelty, but as a vital component of ecological resilience. Every runner planted, every patch allowed to thrive, is a small act of preservation, a way of honoring methods that history has quietly left behind. So look closer, nurture carefully, and share what you discover. In protecting Muehlenbeckia, we protect a living archive, a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary forces are those we least expect, growing quietly beneath our feet. And in doing so, we keep the continuity of lost knowledge alive for those who will come after us. Even as Muehlenbeckia quietly persists in backyards and forgotten plots, its story reminds us that agriculture has always been about more than efficiency or yield. For thousands of years, humans and plants co-evolved in intricate systems of mutual benefit. Civilizations that recognized the hidden powers of resilient plants like Muehlenbeckia not only survived famine and climate stress, but thrived because they paid attention to subtle signs in their environment. The Inca terraces in the Andes, for example, relied on its creeping roots to stabilize steep soils, preventing erosion while naturally cycling nutrients back into the ground. Similarly, medieval European communities integrated it into crop rotations, not just for food, but for soil health, long before chemical fertilizers existed. These were not isolated instances of clever farming. They were repeated, cross-cultural observations of a plant whose properties defied casual dismissal, a plant that literally carried life across generations. Modern science is only beginning to catch up. Long-term studies, from the USDA's decades-long field trials to contemporary trials at Rothamsted Research, reveal that Muehlenbeckia's interactions with soil microbiomes enhance plant growth in ways previously thought impossible. Its stolons and runners form networks that distribute water and nutrients, improve microbial diversity, and even suppress harmful pathogens. The 2022 Nature Plants study showed yield increases of up to 50% when integrated into crop systems, a figure that challenges assumptions about mechanized agriculture and monoculture efficiency. Yet the replication of these studies has been slow, often met with skepticism because the plant's growth patterns don't conform to standard experimental designs. Scientists caution that context, soil type, and climate all influence outcomes, which only underscores the subtlety and sophistication of the plant's effects that industrial systems, focused on uniformity and scale, routinely overlook. For ordinary people, the implications are profound. Muehlenbeckia is more than a botanical curiosity. It is a living, accessible tool for resilience, capable of improving soil, supporting biodiversity, and supplementing nutrition. By observing where it thrives, propagating runners carefully, and integrating it into small-scale gardens or community plots, anyone can participate in a process that links ancient agricultural wisdom with modern ecological necessity. It is not a miracle solution, but a quiet, cumulative ally that rewards patience and attention. Rediscovering and preserving its knowledge is an act of stewardship, an acknowledgement that solutions to pressing challenges may already exist, hidden in plain sight, waiting for careful observation and thoughtful action. In every patch allowed to spread, in every lesson recorded and shared, Muehlenbeckia carries forward a continuity of knowledge that modern agriculture has largely forgotten, yet one that may prove essential for the future. As we reach the close of this journey, it becomes clear that Muehlenbeckia is far more than a creeping vine overlooked in gardens or along sidewalks. It is a living testament to resilience, a bridge between ancient agricultural wisdom and modern scientific discovery. From the clay tablets of Mesopotamia to the terraces of the Andes, from long-term USDA trials to the latest peer-reviewed studies, its story reminds us that the natural world often holds solutions quietly, waiting for careful observation, patience, and respect. By understanding how it moves, enriches soil, and fosters plant and microbial health, we gain not just a plant to cultivate, but a deeper insight into how ecosystems function and how humans can work with them rather than against them. For those who wish to act, Muehlenbeckia offers practical steps that anyone can take. Start small, observe where it naturally thrives, transplant runners into prepared garden beds, and integrate it alongside other crops. Notice the subtle shifts in soil health, the increased vigor of neighboring plants, the way it stabilizes and protects. Each interaction is a lesson in attentiveness, an opportunity to carry forward knowledge that history preserved but modern systems largely ignored. In doing so, we not only cultivate a plant, we cultivate continuity, a living archive of ecological intelligence that may prove essential as climates change and soils degrade worldwide. If this exploration has sparked your curiosity, consider joining us in preserving and sharing this knowledge. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Harvest, and share your observations of Muehlenbeckia and other overlooked plants. By paying attention, documenting and acting, we participate in a centuries-old dialogue between humans and the natural world, a dialogue that can sustain communities, enrich soils, and reconnect us to practices that were essential for survival long before industrial agriculture existed. Every click, every share, every careful observation is a small but meaningful step toward keeping this extraordinary plant, and the lessons it carries, alive for generations to come.